then all of that's going to be mean money to the city, and they're going to have some mass transit to connect. See, and in order to do that, they're going to have to. Vancouver Avenue would be almost a straight shot.
Yeah.
But they voted against Vancouver.
Yeah, they're looking at interstate or along I-5.
Then they would have to cut off at Flint Street and go down underneath the freeway and over to interstate.
They're talking about freeway overpass bridges for light rail.
Okay,
and all
then they would.
stuff.
Then
That's why this thing costs $32 billion.
That's right. Okay, then they would connect. They would connect to Flint Street and go forward.
It's the same way how they do light rail along I-84. It's going to be, that's what they have in mind. They have it kind of going along I-5 out.
Or up interstate.
Is that right?
Yeah, up
the light rail meetings, I mean, the people that turn out, it's all these transit specialists and public agency people, and you never see any of the people that are going to be, whose homes or businesses are directly in the way.
The paper about him.
No.
You know, they had an article, Artie Wilson.
Oh, yeah,
we talked.
Did you get your
he lives right now.
beautiful article was.
You know, Kim is the person that found out about him going into the Hall of Fame.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
and
he's
so,
my neighbor, just right here.
And
that's where I buy our cars from.
And he and his wife just wonderful.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Instead of buying it off the
Oh, yeah.
Well, do you think? I mean, I don't want to upset anybody, especially somebody that's elderly and has some health problems. But I kind of feel if he's the person that I've identified on those streets that's been there the longest.
He's been there a long time.
I know, and so I mean, I guess I'd be willing to go and take him the maps and talk to him, but I mean, I think people should be prepared for this stuff.
Yeah, he's got a daughter here, and I don't know if they've got any kind of mail, any kind of letters or anything from the city TriMet or whoever's going to be putting this in. I'm quite sure they've already contacted, probably have contacted. But she do know about that the buildings that's around it. She knows that, and I haven't talked to him in quite a while, and I don't know if he's got any information or not. I don't know if he's even aware.
Should I call him just out of the blue? I mean, he's not going to know anything about me.
I can. Let me see if I can find his.
He's in the phone book.
He's in the phone book. Okay, I would call him and talk to him.
And can I say that I talked to you?
Yes.
So it's not like I'm coming in as a stranger off the street.
You can tell him you talk to me.
And I'll take him the map and just say, has anybody been out to see you?
See, you can tell him that you talk to me.
You know, the steering committee, including Ed Washington, they sit at these meetings and they look at me like I have two heads because I'm raising concerns about people who are in the way of this stuff.
If you don't, this whole area over here now, a long time ago, well, I was in a meeting. And Harold Williams, I don't know if you know Harold. Harold Williams discussed this. He said, the north and northeast area is prime property. He said, I'm going to tell you this here is because they're not telling me that 90% of the African Americans left out of the planet. Over here. He said, it's Charles Nagle. He said, in the next 10 years, you're going to see a lot of changes over there. This has been over 10 years, and we have seen a lot of changes. Harold knew about it.
He perceived it all coming.
Yeah. Well, he was with the governor up there in Salem for a long time. So he worked with the governor up there. And so Harold knew about these things. He's a businessman right here now. But Harold told us this. This was one of the things that I'm beginning to experience over in here. We have real estate people right here now that's knocking on this door.
They're crawling all over.
They call it, they send me mail. We got more junk mail coming through the mail. I bet you I get a gallon of junk mail every week.
Asking you if you want to sell your house.
Sell the house, and if you notice, right straight down here on Broadway, by the Lawson on 10th, there's 10th and Weiler, from Weiler all up Broadway, up to about 11th or 15th. They redoing something. They remodeling this and this property over in here. At one time, I was told that they big business wanted to put condos over here, and they really liked it. This is prime property over here.
Yeah, but these are beautiful homes.
Oh yeah, they want this property, and I just definitely don't feel like I don't want to move out of here. They're getting to the place where they're taxing people out of their houses over here, especially the senior citizens. You know, the people that's on pension and things like that. They making it so almost impossible for people to stay here.
And that's what I'm kind of concerned about. You know, I am really concerned about, the high taxes that I heard recently that you guys' taxes had increased tenfold.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and that,
They said North and Northeast Portland were traditionally undervalued, and so with the last big jump, you were all going to be brought up to everybody's level.
Way up there.
Well, my fear is that if you're an elderly person, you're on a fixed income, your taxes have jumped, all of a sudden you start getting all this mail from different real estate people, you may be inclined to think, I've never thought I could get this much money for my house.
Yeah.
I'll sell,
Yeah.
not recognizing that they can probably get more if, in fact, they chose to sell.
That's right.
because I know when
Mrs. Bell told us that.
Yeah.
That she had sold a lot for lots less.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And this is what they're doing. And if you notice, right down over here, just off of Broadway, you got Stan Wiley. You got all of these Barbara Lucille. They're all right here in the Lord Center now. See, they are buying up. They building new buildings, and they putting it right there on Broadway between 11th and 12th, right across from Safeway. Going to put some, I think, some apartment houses in there. And if you look right there on Wilder there, they built a whole slew of condos.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they haven't moved in yet, but they got them built. They got an office over there, a lease office that they built over there. They would like to come on this side of Broadway if they can get enough people to sell.
But, it's for a while there, this was they would call the banana belt down in here.
Why?
I don't know. I mean, the people's from the hills, this was the banana belt. Now, the people's in the hills are trying to come down here and get you out of here. Oh, yeah.
Nobody wanted to be here before.
I know.
So when did you guys buy your house here?
28 years ago.
28 years ago.
Yeah, 28 years. Her sister's 20. Yeah, she wasn't born.
Okay, hold on a minute. Let me let it.
Yeah. Hello?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Y'all like a couple
All
of
right.
61.
What do you think with yours?
No.
68.
Will you have sugar or what?
69.
But splash milk if you have it.
69, right after my mother passed.
Then just black.
68.
So when you moved here, was there other blacks here, or was it
There was
Carolina?
only Armour across the street here. The Carters on the corner. The Jacksons and the Mullins. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 families.
And it was kind of like a white flight.
It was all white.
Yeah, were they Germans, or you
I
know what they
really don't know. But they were all white when we moved in.
What year did we beat, if you remember? Do you remember looking up one year and seeing that they was all gone? Yeah.
I did.
Say you want sugar?
Yeah.
Was it like in the
Because this
70s?
girl, little here, Susan, she was very nice. Very nice. Well, they all were nice.
Here, I'll give you a napkin if you want it. Okay.
Cavallos, Oregon. That's where her job. She had a job, and her job transferred her to Cavallos, Oregon. He was on the corner here. They broke up. She and her husband, they separated. So she went back to Alaska, and he went back to Seattle. So it's a new those people over there moved in. Those people's there, they died. Now, they were Germans, I know, because you have to be pretty good friends. They were Germans. They were a young couple there. They never, really associated. Here they have had Beth and Elizabeth. Yeah. They bought a new home. They moved down on you know, at Holy Redeemer School,
Mhm.
where she was expected, and they wanted a bigger place, and that's how they moved down there.
Okay, so they kind of stayed in.
Right, yeah, they stayed for a long time. Yeah.
But
The kids right here went to school with my kids, and the ones next door, they all went to Irvington together.
Now, Mr. Moore, you came to Portland and with your family and were in Vanport, right?
when I came to Portland, my dad was working here in Union Pacific, down here at the Albina Yard. And I had an aunt living here, and her family was here. So I talked my dad into letting me, well, my oldest brother was here too. I talked my dad to let me come out and stay with my aunt. Since there was 11 of us in the family, it was nice to get away from of course, my dad never really moved his family out here. So what we did, he allowed me and my oldest brother, so we the two oldest, let us come out here, provided that I'd go to school. My brother was working. And we helped provide money for the family back there. Back there, my mother was maintaining a home back in Illinois. So I ended up staying here. When I first came here, my wife here was going to school. She was going to Roosevelt. So we got acquainted with each other. Wasn't you going to Roosevelt?
I was in grade school.
That's right. It's been years ago. But anyway, we met years
I
ago.
was in Vanport. I went to
During the Vanport
I was in,
days.
7th grade?
Oh, really? In Davenport? Oh, do you remember the school?
Vanport Elementary School.
It didn't have Davenport.
I just said that Vanport.
Elementary school in 7th grade?
Yeah, they all was there.
See, it wasn't any middle school in Portland then. It wasn't nothing. Washington had a middle school, but Oregon didn't have a middle school.
Just elementary and high school.
That's all. You go to
Okay,
the
that
8th
was
grade,
it.
and then you went to from
It's like when
first
I
grade to
grew up.
the 8th grade.
They just started, really, they just started the middle schools in the last
Well,
during Renee's time.
during Harriet Tubman, when they built the
I was-
school over on
Yes.
Flint Street, when they built the school on Flint
Mm-hmm.
Street, they were just in the process of changing a lot of your schools over
Mm-hmm.
to middle school. Like Harriet Tubman was a middle
Right.
school. Boise, it used to be Boise.
Yeah,
Boise was a middle school. See, Harriet Tubman was Elliott.
right.
And so at that time, they promised that they would put at least two middle schools over in the north area, which would be Tubman, Harriet Tubman. They was getting ready to change the name to Harriet Tubman, from Elliott to Harriet Tubman, and they would put attach Elliott onto Boise School to make it Boise Elliott. So the school board changed their mind. They said, we will do what we feel like we want to do. We will not make Tubman a middle school. We're going to put the middle school at Boise Elliott, and if you like it or not, that's where it's going. So we went down and we kind of interrupted the school board meeting until they changed their mind and decided that they would put make Tubman a middle school. They wasn't intending. They had to change their mind, said they wasn't going to do it. So in the meantime, they changed their mind back after they seen we was going to boycott them.
Wow.
After they seen we was going to boycott them, they decided they would go ahead on and keep their promise. And then they named Tubman a middle school. But in the meantime, they was just going to name Boise a middle school. And see, Boise was always Boise. There wasn't Boise Elliott.
Right.
Elliott was on Flint. So they used, when they changed the Elliott to Harriet Tubman, and they changed that name, taking part of that name and put it over at Boise School to make it Boise Elliott.
Make everybody happy. Happier.
Right. And actually, your first Elliott was over at Mike Dishman's, where Mike Dishman did.
When it was a one-story building?
Yeah, it was one-story building, but then it was all that It's part of that building. It's still part of the old Elliott School. Is still there. The gym, well, the kitchen and all that. The gym, that's part of the Elliott School. See, Elliott wasn't always over wasn't always on Flint Street. It used to be right there on
West End.
right on Knott Street. That was an old Elliott, and they tore down everything but the jail, and that's where they put that. That's the reason, and they call it MacDishon Center. They made a neighborhood center out of it.
So when you came and moved here and were here with your father and your brother, where were you guys living?
We was living in Vanderbilt.
And then you came. Were you there for the flood, or did you?
Oh yes, I was actually when the flood come along. There was the end of the World War II was over with, and what we did in Portland there. They closed up the shipyard. In Portland, they closed up all the shipyards. There wasn't any work for the African Americans at all. Most of us, a lot of them went to Alaska to work. The city wouldn't hire you. You couldn't get a work, couldn't get a job, and went nowhere with the city at all. So all of the black men had to go out of the state. Some went to Alaska. Me and my brother and some of the others. My dad went back to Illinois, went back to Indiana, and went to working in a steel mill in Indiana. But most of the black men that decided they was going to stay here went to Alaska and Pasco and Seattle.
To Hanford?
And Hanford. Up there, we helped build Hanford. Before Richland become Richland, we went up there and built that. I helped build Richland myself. We put the homes in. I worked for a contractor up there to build homes in Richland.
Did you work with what's his name? The guy we interviewed.
The cement mason?
Yeah.
Lavelle Harrison?
Lavelle Harrison. I know he did.
I might have.
He worked a lot.
He's Diamond Jim. He ran Diamond Jim's club.
I might have. I don't know. It's kind of hard to say.
Like
so you went from Vanport back to Illinois, then came back here?
No, I went from Vanport. When the Vanport flood come along, we was down here. All the men commuted back and forth on weekends so they could be with their family. Okay, when I came back, I had recently got married. I had one kid, and we came down on the weekend just so we could be with the families, you know. We still in Vanport. That was on the 30th of May. They passed out leaflets that morning. On Sunday morning, everybody would get up and go to church on Sunday mornings, and they'd come back home in the evening, and all you had was radios to listen to. We'd come back home, and they had plastered out flowers that morning telling people not to be alarmed, that the water was high, that not to be alarmed, that it wasn't any danger of the flood coming in and destroying Vanport. If they seen it was going to be a danger, they would have people move out in plenty of time. And that was that morning, and the flood broke through that same day, that evening. So they had no time. Lots of people said went to church, come back home, eat dinner, and just relaxing. And we had to take what you could get and run out of that. And it just so happened my brother couldn't drive his car because he had hurt his arm up there in Pasco. So I taken his car, and I drove his wife and kids. I drove them out of the Vanport. We had to go upside the dike just to get up just to get out of there and keep from losing the car or getting drowned. People was running with whatever they could put in their hand, trying to get out of there. And the flood was coming. The water was just taking over so fast that a lot of people got drowned out there. They didn't tell anybody.
Everybody says that there's no way that only 13 people died. They told that. They lied. The reason I know they lied is because I worked for the Army Engineers. After that, they gave us jobs back in the city. They had no choice. We had to stay.
they gave us jobs, help cleaning up, and the only time that they would bring bodies out was at night. The Army engineers would go in there at night, and they would. That's just what they did. They would bring. They worked during the nights with both the lights on the boats and things like that, and that's what they did. Now, they sent buses from the city. At that time, it wasn't considered part of Fort.
Right, it was a separate city.
It was a separate city. Mm-hmm. It was the second largest city in population in Oregon. So what they did was send some of the city buses down into Vanport, along with the Vanport buses, to help get some of the senior citizens and older people and kids out that could. And some of those buses never made it out. They never made it out. So I know there was a lot of lives lost. The flood come through so fast it washed Denver Avenue going to Vancouver. They washed it completely out. The water went straight on over to the racetrack. And it was the only way you could go to Vancouver was go all the way down to the Bridge of Gods.
Good grief.
And come across that bridge down there.
The
Bridge of the Gods.
Bridge of the Gods.
Way down off 84.
Yeah. And that was the only way you could get to Vancouver. Until they repaired the railroad tracks which ran west of Vanport. When they repaired that, see, it tore all that out too. Then you could go over to Vancouver by train. Other than that, you couldn't.
Keep it quiet though. If people
they knew
about their families.
It belonged to the government.
Looking for.
Yeah, it belonged to the government. See, Vanport actually used to belong to the government. It's called Delta Park now, but the government owned all that, and they put houses in there for the people that came out to Oregon to work in the shipyards and mostly shipyards. Yeah, and this is why the government owned all that. Those were government houses. And the reason that wasn't nothing you could do, they sent a bunch of lawyers from back east out here because they knew they tried to fight on behalf of the fact that they had put out these flyers. It didn't go nowhere. I don't know if they bought the lawyers off or nothing, but there's a lot of them come out here to fight that battle because of the fact that they know that the government was wrong for
telling people it was going to be all right when it wasn't.
So this was one of the reasons that they sent a lot of lawyers out here, but then they just squashed it. And so a lot of the projects, they had closed, the government had closed up projects on the west side, like Giles Lake. They had closed those houses up, they was into the tear all that down. Now it's all industrial out there. Yeah, they had so they opened up those houses before they could tear them down, and they eventually let people that was displaced move into those houses. In the meantime, they set up trailer houses for families that couldn't get right into an apartment. So they set up trailer houses, and then they had an administration building out there in Giles Lake where people could go in there and they could sign up for a house. And as they come available, they would let them move in. They could clean them up and let people move in. And another place was St. John's Woods and Parkside, which is in St. John. And they had houses there that was closed up. And the government could have easily let the people move in those houses, but they didn't do it until they was forced to. But by the displaced peoples in the flood.
So Vanport at that time of the flood, it was mostly black, right?
It was, because a lot of they had tried to persuade most of the black people to go back to where they come from, and a lot of them ignored it. So there was a lot of Caucasians that moved out of Vanport because they got the information about the flood. A lot of them moved to Woodburn and down in that Salem area. Down in that. Lots of them moved in that area down in there. They was gone. They knew.
You could
they
get
knew
out,
something.
you left. You know,
We could have got
left for better
out. We
housing.
couldn't get those houses because
Right.
there was certain areas like Columbia Villa. Blacks wasn't allowed to live in Columbia Villa. You could only live in a place called University Home, looked like Army barracks. You could walk from one porch to the other, just like that. And this is where the blacks was allowed to live. It was just this side of Columbia Villa. It was joining Columbia Villa, but you couldn't live in those nice apartments that Columbia Villa had, because they had nice stoves and ranges and refrigerators. We had ice boxes and hot plates. That's what we cooked on.
In University Park.
In Vanport too. In Vanport too. We didn't have no refrigerators. We had ice boxes.
So when you were flooded out of Vanport, where did you go?
We went to a trailer house in Guy's Lake.
And then how long did the housing in Gouts Lake last?
The houses in Guy's Lake, they lasted up until the, oh boy, let's see. When did that?
Everybody didn't go to Guys Lake.
Some of them went.
A lot of people came over here on this side, not in this area, but off of Vancouver Avenue in William, because see, at that time blacks wasn't allowed over in this area. So they came. A lot of them went to on Williams Avenue in Vancouver, because a lot of people's taken a lot of them in that had blacks that did have homes in those areas, taking a lot of blacks in then. And the Red Cross paid for them to stay there. And then after a lot of them got on their feet and started getting jobs and things, that's when they began to buy their own homes and move into different places. But they all didn't go to, say, trails. A lot of them just went into homes.
Right.
With the St. John's Wood, Parkside University Home, all those, were they built by Kaiser?
They was built by,
The same person?
well, I think the government actually built them and leased them out to Kaiser. You paid your money to the government.
Okay.
Your rent was paid to the government. You know.
But
Government,
did
they call it
Kaiser,
government houses. They had housing administration.
but Kaiser was the developer for all of them?
Or was the landlord
They was
How was the landlord?
They was more like the landlord, because if you wasn't working for, if you could get into one of those houses if you was working for Kaiser, the shipyard, stuff like that. You could work. If you was working for the railroad, you had most of them didn't. They knew you was working for the railroad. You couldn't get it. You couldn't get in those houses.
Mrs. Washington, she was working for the railroad.
Yeah, but then her husband worked the shipyard too.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, so that made a difference.
So when you ultimately left Guy's Lake, came into Portland.
When I left Guy's Lake, they gave me a house over in St. John Wood, and I stayed there until I went back in the service.
And Mrs. Moore, were you there for the flood
I
in Vanport?
I just had graduated from high school. Saying I graduated in June and the flood was in May.
And the high school was off the convent?
No, high school, Roosevelt High School in St. John. Right.
So what happened with your family? What did you guys get out? Was you there that day, or did you know about it before?
Yeah, we had the same letters and everything. Everybody got those letters. We had been to church that. It was a Mother's Day, matter of fact.
Memorial Day.
Yeah, Memorial Day. Yeah, Memorial Day.
Memorial Day.
And had been to church, came home, and it was real pretty. We were sitting outside on the lawn, and all of a sudden that's when the horns started blowing, letting you know. And then everybody started running.
Cool.
Did you two know each other out there?
Oh yeah.
I met him through my mom and dad and his cousin. His cousin and I we grew up together, Ophelia. But he and my mom and dad, he used to take my dad to church. And
No, what church did you go to?
Mount Sinai.
Oh, you were doing
Mount Sinai, but at
But it was
that
on Dorn.
no, this was in Vanport.
Oh, okay.
This was in 46, 47.
And was it Cosmo friend?
No, it was I can't remember the name of it. It wasn't.
I don't remember.
I don't remember the name of it
Was it
at all.
Garner Street, was it?
No, that's when they moved to
Garner
That's where
Lane.
that's where we Garner Street. That's when we lived up here on. I mean, that's when we was at
It was
in
Guy's
Guy's
Lake. That was Guy's Lake because
okay. 44 Court. Yeah. Okay. Reverend Cheeks. I don't remember the name. But anyway, at that time, the minister there was white. His name was Reverend Brown. I can remember that. I was a little girl.
For the church in Vanport.
In Vanport. Mm-hmm. The pastor's name was Reverend Brown.
And that was in a recreation center, wasn't it?
No, yeah, it was a recreation center they had there. Mm-hmm. They started out on Cottonwood. Yeah. Then they moved up to Broadacre with it. Across from Joe's Market.
Cottonwood.
Cottonwood. Mm-hmm.
How many brothers and sisters did you have?
I don't have any.
Oh,
I had one at that time, yes. I had one sister. But she passed away.
Yeah, one here, lived here, and one in California.
Oh, well, that was years. That was way later. No, she meant at that time. It was just the two of us.
Okay.
But my sister passed away in 45.
So when you, so
She was older than I was.
What's your maiden name?
Lawrence. Lawrence.
so what happened that day? Did you guys grab everything and leave? Or?
You just grab whatever you could. Most of you came out with what you had on. Because see, at that time we were living close to Denver. We wasn't very far that we could go up on the hill there.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't too bad.
When the horn sound, you
knew what it
that
was.
Something was.
You knew because see, they had said they was going to give us a lot of warning, like Julius was saying. They never did, but so everybody could get out. But when the warning came, the water was coming in. And you could see buses going down in the water. That's why it was a lot of, you could see them. Because, see, the buses would come out of Kenton down this little hill like it was a fire station when it wasn't with that flag. And you could see those buses didn't have time to get out or anything. The water just swept them right on down. So there was a lot of people who went down in it. Yeah, there were a lot of people. And you could see people sitting up on the roofs trying to, save themselves.
All those buildings were two-story buildings.
People.
And they was busted up. It was just...
Yeah, you see them in the... I've seen footage, flood footage in that video.
It was just
local
like
color.
trash going down the water.
I went to the Washington State Museum and they had a video about water. And they had the Danforth flag, so they were talking about the Columbia River.
Right. You did. Came across that railroad track and that was it. And you could see it. It was just big waves just coming down.
Yeah. But how could you not know about the severity of that flood?
They knew, but they didn't want telling anybody. And they thought that maybe it was going to, after the way I could understand it, they thought it was going to just pass over.
They thought the dike was going to hold.
They thought it was going to hold.
But then, too, by Corps of Engineers, this is something that they should know about. And they didn't know. My reason, I think why they did, they just really didn't care. They wanted to get rid of Vanport. They truly did.
They did.
It wasn't really because they're blacks, because you had a lot of whites there, too. And seeing a lot of whites came just like the blacks did to better their condition. That's why they came. The blacks didn't only come to better theirs. A lot of white came like kids. Right, to better their condition, where maybe a lot of them had been on farms or whatever. So when the shipyard opened up, there was letters that went out to all different states that where Kaiser and then Vancouver shipyard too were hiring. So a lot of people got their way paid out here. A lot of them came. At that time, most of them came on the bus on that old Oregon Highway. Yeah, so it wasn't just all black. It was a lot of white that was in there too,
So when did you two get married?
We got married in 1965, because she had been married before. She left town there too and went back. She went to Michigan and stayed back there for a long time. We both split up. We didn't see each other for a long time, and then we ended up back together. But
where did they come from?
she went to Michigan, and she got married back there. And then when she got divorced back there, she came back to Portland. In the meantime, I was in the Army, and I gotten a divorce too, and I had went back in the army, and I got out of the army. Then me and her got back together.
So you got to date like
Oh,
before
yeah.
Oh yeah, I do. Oh yes. Like I said, we've been doing it for about 14. I guess he's about 16.
Yeah. We used to sneak out of school.
And matter of fact, I used to get girlfriends for him.
How ironic.
I used to get girlfriends for him. But he would always hang around to take my dad to church, you know. He'd always get his brother's
Good way of
car.
getting good with the family.
Yes, and my dad, he just loved the car. I don't care how cold the weather was, he'd roll the window down, had to put his arm out the window, you know, he had to do, you know. And he'd pick him up and take him, you know. Yeah, okay.
And have you lived here that whole time?
In this house?
Uh-huh.
No.
Because you moved here in what you said?
We moved there in what?
When sister, about
You
28
said about
years.
68?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was about 16 because we had a house up on 8th Street, past Prescott, between Wygate and Owen. We had a house up there, and then we bought this house down here. But before then, we used to live on Stanton right there.
Yeah.
Her mother had a house right by the church next to that church up there on 7th and Stanton.
Yeah, we're Marion, Georgia.
Yeah.
Right.
Her mother owned that house.
210.
You know, and we lived there for a long time, and then we moved. We had been renting from my brother. My brother had a house on Commercial, so we moved in that. We just went through the family. We moved in his house. We stayed there a long time. Well, that's when Renee was born on Commercial, and then we started renting from her mother, and then I bought me a house up on 8th Street. Then I bought this one down here. But in the meantime, we were just kind of in and out of the northeast area. We was on the north side, then over the northeast, and then we've been here a long time now. Because Renee's, I think her second year in school, she was
still at Irvington.
The second year
She was still in grade school.
Yeah, but when we went to, I'm talking about, that's her second year, she started going to Irvington.
Right, yeah. Because she went to, when it was Highland first, King School was Highland. She was going there.
Yeah, that's right.
That's when she got her tooth knocked out at Highland. And then that's when they started busting the kids out.
Yeah.
Remember, she was one of the first group that got busted out.
Started busting out the Glencoe.
The Glencoe out on Belmont.
Yeah. But anyway, that's when most of your middle school started, about that time.
Right, that's when it was.
I'd like to go back and ask you a question about the church. Sorry, I know how I got interest in the church.
This is Kim's specialty.
Yeah.
My specialty is the urban renewal programs and where people move, if they stayed here, and how many people left. Kim's specialty is the church.
In that speech, what you did that lecture about the churches?
Yeah.
I found out that a lot of the black churches had white ministers.
Yeah.
And I know that
That's just so hard to understand.
It was.
because you know why the church of council, the church council of Oregon, they would appoint these ministers.
That's what they did.
And that's what happened.
That's what happened.
And did you guys have a good relationship then?
Very good.
Was it majority black though, or was it interracial?
No, it was majority black.
And then
It was saved with maybe him and the pastor and his family. It was mostly just the be there.
And then when you guys moved to Garner Street, isn't that where you guys requested a black pastor? Or I think I remember Sister Carter telling me.
That was Urban Cheeks.
I don't ever remember requesting a black pastor. When I knew he was just there.
They just sent one.
He did just send one.
I don't know if it was a
I don't.
request.
Well, matter of fact, this Pastor Brown, he moved out of town. That's what it was. He moved. And they didn't have a pastor for a long time. So then when they moved to Garner Street, Mrs. Anderson joined the church. Aretha Anderson joined the church because my dad was a deacon. And that's why I know a little bit.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And Mrs. Allison told them about her brother-in-law was a minister, Reverend Chief, and that's how he got to be the pastor.
No, he wasn't in Oregon. He was in Oregon.
Yeah, he was out there in Guys Lake.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was in Guys Lake too, just down the way.
And everybody loved him.
Yeah, he was fun. He was funny. He was funny. Reverend Warren kind of reminds you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
he was very funny. He was very funny. Because I can remember one time, my boy Robert, he was right there on Prescott where we are now, and he would always call that old bald head man, because he you know how ministers make the kids mind when they're not doing anything. Old bald head man, I just hate him. Boy, that Sunday morning, Reverend Cheeks got up in there, he said, yeah, young man, he told me last Sunday, old bald head man, I just hate him. And there he's sitting over there, that's Deacon Jones' grandson. That was my dad. Oh, boy, my dad could have went through the floor. But that was just kind of a person he was.
And I know Sister Robertson was saying how he used to come, he was always helping her find a job, and that's how they got there.
You know?
Yeah.
He and my dad was real good. He and my dad and Brother Monroe at the church, they were very good friends. Deacon Alexander, he's passed now, and Deacon Zachary. Oh, I can go down the line.
I didn't even know that anyway.
Where's that picture that you had us, Miss Frazier?
Oh, okay.
I didn't know your dad was a deacon.
My dad was one of the founders of there. No, yeah.
But
Now you're talking about Mount Sinai.
yeah.
And when in my research I found out that there were 3 types of churches that emerged. You had the black churches with the white ministers. You had the black churches,
The traditional black churches.
with the black pastor, and then you had the interracial church with a white minister. But you know, it was very seldom that you had the black. But most of them started out with the white minister.
Well, you know, they said that Mount Sinai was an inspirational church.
Yeah.
But I couldn't understand why they said that. I mean, Mrs. Carter didn't say that. But I can't remember. You know, I'm not going to say. I just don't,
But
you know.
I know.
You don't remember it being like
It's
that.
a
I
legal
truly,
name. It's a legal name.
right, I truly don't.
Interracial church.
Because when they was out in St. John's there, they had maybe 2 or 3 whites would come in too, you know. But just say members, I don't ever remember them.
There's a picture, an early picture with a lot of white people in it.
It might have been in Vanport.
No, it's
No.
Well, the picture was taken. The building was too big to be Mount Sinai because it was a good building too. It was like you know how people, like a group picture of the church.
But you don't know if it was Mount Sinai or
I
not.
don't think it couldn't be Mount Sinai.
It could have been.
It was a
Could have been
building.
Maranatha. Because Maranatha was Reverend Wallace.
Now, they were.
It was
really
multi-cultural.
No, but this is the old school. I mean, you could tell by the style of dress. It was either in the 50s or the 40s because they had those kind of pillbox tops.
Kim's only in her mid-30s.
But
So in the 50s,
Yeah.
I think, see, Reverend Wallace didn't always start over in Maranatha. He was at another, what was he at?
It was Maranatha was an all-white church, and then they began to kind of. Yeah, it was an all-white church when
Did
they
he
started
start
out.
But he started at Church of God in Christ.
Yeah. But Reverend Wallace was not the pastor there first. It was a young white minister there. I can't remember his name, but that's who it was. Reverend Wallace didn't come in until years later.
I think he came in as more like an ambassador to Africa. Because he used to go overseas, he used to go into Africa a lot. And I'm not sure whether he's a missionary or what, but he used to go into, this is how he really got built Maranatha up, and after he got to be the pastor, he was still commuting back and forth to Africa.
Yeah, and they said when he became, I interviewed him and I talked to Sister Nancy. Sister Nancy was saying that he, the white that went there and kind of like Jesus freaks, like hippies and stuff, and he appealed to them. He appealed to like what they called him at the time, Jesus freaks, but it was like, you know, the hippies.
It was mostly a young group.
Yeah, a young group.
It really was mostly a young congregation.
And he said he thought it was a success because his church represented the proportion of the people in the community. Like, you know, you had,
Now, we know you want to get back. This is a promise keeper, so maybe
Right here.
They probably having lunch
That's
now.
old, isn't it?
and you're missing it.
Yeah, I'm missing them. There's so many men there. They probably get run out of food before they get it all eat up anyway.
There's some women that can put some food away too.
yeah. Look at this Billy Webb live photo.
You know, when Mr. Bowles came to the meeting that you attended at Monsanto, we'd sure like to talk to him, now knowing that he's a nephew of Billy Webb, and try to understand some of that.
No, he's not in there.
It's fabulous.
He's not in
Long
there.
time in there.
But Willie Bowles, you got his phone number, I know, don't you?
Yeah,
I don't know. I
don't
haven't
know
been
if
to
he
his
signed
house.
that sign-up sheet or not.
I don't know if he did or not, but I do. I don't know. I don't have his address. I know Willie lives way out. He lives out in the. I think he lives out in the Park Rose area.
We went to grade school together.
I'm almost sure he lives out in that area.
Yeah, all the
Now, who is this person? This guy looks really familiar to me.
I don't know his name. I got this picture is my, Pastor Frazier.
Mm-hmm.
This is his mother's picture. She just had me to bring it to see if Julius knew anyone on there.
And his dad is that.
That's Pastor Frazier's dad right there.
Wow, goodness. Really looks a lot like
A long time, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of faces on there look, like you say, look very familiar. But
Well, this man really looks a lot like
he does
the plumbers, Herman and Mrs. Plummer.
I knew him.
But
We tried to interview Mrs. Plummer, but she didn't want to.
she didn't want to.
Well,
Is that right?
what about Johnny Hartley across the street there? He used to be a real estate man.
Yeah, but I was just wondering if she would like an interview.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, that because he's dead. See.
Yeah.
And the Jacksons down the street there.
Yeah.
You got the Jacksons. You got the
you got the Carters
and the Mullins.
The Carters on the corner.
Yeah. But the Jacksons down on the corner down there would be.
You know Mr. Hartley, because he was a real estate man.
Yeah.
Remember? They on Williams.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute. He's the one on Fargo area?
No.
That's his son.
It was Johnny Hartley had a real estate right there on Williams next.
Oh no, that wasn't Harley. That wasn't Harley. That Fargo and Williams. That would be. Who was that? That one where you sold your house to?
Yeah, that fella.
Yeah. Her mother and dad had a house over on Fargo, right across from where you guys used to live.
Yeah.
Okay, well, her mother used to own that brown house across the street there.
Yeah.
And Viola sold that to the real estate people down on that corner down there.
1 year.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
USO?
Yeah.
That was it.
Actually speaking, that building there is where when I first went on the waterfront, we met there at night because the longshoremen wouldn't hire blacks on the waterfront, and the only way we could do it, they wouldn't even give us applications. So the government come out. And they sent some representatives out from the White House. They come out there and we met at night at that Billy Webb Lodge, and they helped us make out our application, so that we wouldn't make any mistakes. So that they was forcing the local aid to put blacks on the waterfront here in Portland.
And I
So
have to fight
they had to fight it, and they had planned on doing. They had a plan to keep us out. If we failed to dot an I, they was going to disqualify.
And what years was?
This was in 1964.
So who was the first longshoreman?
I was one of the first. They only hired 50 black longshoremen here, in 1964.
And that's the campaign that Nate Nickerson talks about, is integrating the waterfront.
We're integrating the waterfront.
And also
Okay.
the NAACP. Is that when they threatened to hit them with a...
Well, the NAACP was one of the peoples that was fighting to get us on the waterfront.
Yeah, that's that story that Mayfield Webb used to always tell about being threatened to get hit in the head.
Mayfield Webb was the leader of that.
With the hook or something.
Yeah, he died. Yeah, he's dead now.
Last
He
year.
died last year.
Yeah.
He just died.
November.
Yeah, he hasn't been dead a year yet.
I know, he died in November.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. I just talked to him about a month.
I
Yeah,
know.
he
After he
threatened
called
to
me,
Hazel Hayes.
because he said, I finally convinced Hazel Hayes
Yeah.
that she needs to tell her story. Can you get in touch with Kim?
Yeah.
And, you know.
I'll tell you a guy that you could probably talk to that could give you some information, because he's one of the fighters that never got on the waterfront. He fought to help get blacks on the waterfront, but then they wouldn't give him nothing but a casual card. His name Ernest C. Plummer. He's over Bantu.
Bantu Towing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What's his name?
Arthur Palmer.
Arthur Palmer. He's
Ar-
the one that built that Palmer
He's the first one that had
motel building.
That was his building.
Uh-huh.
He built that, and he got in a little trouble.
Bantu Towing?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
He owns that. He actually restructured the Rose City Cab Company.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the reason they call it the New Rose City Cab Company.
Oh, so he's the reason it
He was
became
the
went
reason.
from Rose City to New Rose
The
City.
New Rose City.
All right.
That's what the movie or something like that. Right. When he was, because it's like you get enlightened. Because you hear bits and pieces, and then when I talk about them, it seems to all come together. Oh, okay.
You know what? I thought he was a minister, Norwood. John Norwood.
John, there, yeah.
Yeah, because
He
he
was.
used to be. Because he used to be a member of Mount Sinai.
What happened? And he's passed?
Yeah. Oh, he's been passed for quite a few years now. Yeah, he was a minister.
His house, his old house down there on Page, is one of the ones in the way that like
Because
railroad.
right around just before you get to his house, right on that corner there, I think
that
it's
Renee?
equipment. Yeah. For handicapped people. See, that used to be an Ann Farmer Bakery.
Right.
Right. Yeah, Ann Farmer Bakery was there.
And Charles Maxey briefed me when we were working on this about the different businesses down
Right.
there.
Okay.
Because Mr. Maxey and I, he was president of Little League Baseball, and I was his vice president of Little League Baseball.
Really?
Yeah, with the kids.
I'll tell you something else about that Ann Palmer Bakery, just across the street from it. That was Avery's garage.
Mm-hmm.
He had a Buick dealership.
Mm-hmm.
The first and the only one that I know of in the city of Fulton that had a black new car dealership. And he was a mechanic.
We have
What's his name?
Avery's listed in here.
Avery.
A-V-R-I-T-T-S.
That's
He
it.
was the guy who owned the pet.
He was on. He raised his family up, and they owned that building right across from the Ann Palmer Bakery. And next door to
Avery's Auto Repairing, 2242
Right.
North Williams.
that, he specialized in Buick.
And what was his first name? You remember?
I don't remember his first name.
Probably
I come back to you.
But you know, I can picture that guy. I can picture that guy.
Visualize
He
him
was
now.
he was all business. He was all business. I could picture him. He had some sons. I don't know whatever happened to them. But right next door where that apartment house is, right next to that big business, he had his kind of corner from Ann Palmer Bakery. That was Jeanette's apartments.
Mm-hmm.
They got apartments in there now. And they was named after Jeanette Paul, the guy that used to have a nightclub on Russell now.
Paul Moss.
No, not Paul. No, Paul
Paradise.
Yeah, but his name was Paul. Was it Paul Billiard?
It was something I can't remember.
But his wife was named Jeanette, not Geneva, but Jeanette. And he named those apartments Jeanette's apartments. He had a nightclub right there until Emmanuel Hospital tore all that down, bought all that and tore that down.
'Cause that's where the bicycle shop was,
Yeah.
and the Blues Man shop, the
Yeah.
clothing store,
Yeah.
and the jewelry.
Yeah.
You remember? And Citizen Fountain was on that corner.
They had a shoe shop there too.
Oh, you remember? Oh, okay.
They had a shoe shop there. That was Hardy's shoe shop, and he left here and went to California. But he trained a guy that's out on the Hawthorne now to run a shoe shop out there.
You mean the Thrower,
Thor.
Mr. Thrower?
Yeah. Okay, he was trained right there on Russell.
Well, what do you know?
He was trained right there on Russell.
So it's
He's
called Hardy's?
Hardy's shoe shop.
Mm-hmm.
It's Thrower,
And he-
white or
Thor,
Black.
he's black. He's
Yeah.
Thor.
He's right down by where
Yeah.
I live, real close.
George,
to
his name is
shoe shop.
George. George Hardy taught George how to repair shoes. And when he left here and went to California, George ran that store for a while. Then he ended up out on Hawthorne. When he got a shoe shop out there, he done moved a couple of times on Hawthorne there. But he's got him and his son is running it now.
Yeah.
His son,
I just saw his
Working
son
with-
walking down the street the other morning.
he's got another son, a young son, that's married to my niece.
What is a small world, isn't
When
it?
you get to talking,
Yeah. His name is Anthony. That's the one that's married to Sheila. I don't know if you know Sheila. Yeah, that's Sheila's father-in-law that runs the shoe shop.
Okay.
And Josh Thrower, the little, I guess he's probably the youngest of
He's
the
the
sons,
youngest,
is in,
yeah.
I met him through Mark Little in the Highlight, the Buffalo
Oh.
Soldier
Because
program.
George is in there too.
Mhm.
Anthony, yeah. Okay.
Well, maybe we could talk some about the fraternal organization, so we don't keep you here all day. I mean, Kim and I will
Yeah,
talk
that's all
about
right.
this.
That's
till
all
it
right.
runs out.
Okay, then and, my wife, she's the worthy matron of Rosa Sharon. It's
And
St.
that's-
Joseph. That's a St.
ODS of Oregon.
Yeah, that's St. Joseph Grand. It's St.
That's
Joseph
Mason,
Grand Lodge.
right?
St. Joseph Grand Lodge is the lodge that we belong to.
Mhm. And that's the one that's on Mississippi, and
Mississippi,
Fremont?
Right.
Now, how old is that lodge?
That lodge goes quite a way back. It goes back into the 50s too.
And it's African American.
Because these
Oh, you got
It was, yeah. Well, see, at that time, all your lodges was segregated anyway.
Mhm.
You had a white lodge and you had a black lodge.
But do they have the same name? Or they
Yeah,
have different names?
they same name, but you got different lodges. See, in every last lodge, you got 4 lodges. You got 3 lodges. You got. See, we got what's the same? St. John, St. Joseph. St. Joseph is a Grand Lodge.
Mhm.
You got Evergreen. We had Hunter and St. John.
And you're a member of the St. Joseph's?
I'm a grand officer,
Mhm.
and I'm also a patron of the Rosa Sharon, the lodge that she the Eastern Star.
And Eastern Star goes under the umbrella of the Grand Lodge.
Yeah,
Right.
And that's the women's.
That's the women's somehow.
and in order to be a Mason, to be associated with the Eastern Stars, you have to be a 33rd degree Mason.
And how do you go through that? Is it like a...
You got to go through the ritual. You got to go through.
I've seen some of those little
I
sort of
can't-
booklets.
I can only
Can't
tell you
reveal
so
the
much.
secret.
I can only tell you so much, but anyway, you
I've
got
seen the study book.
you got to
You have
be
to-
initiated up to that
okay.
degree. You got to take
I
those
won't
degrees.
ask you for the secret handshake.
Okay.
Yeah,
Renee Rivers in there.
oh, okay. So they're in the Eastern Star.
But-
Yeah,
And
was
it's-
in my chapel.
And the same thing.
I know the Worthy Matron.
So what is that, like the president
Yes,
So,
it was the president of that.
Oh.
So I'm the president of
of that chapter?
Well, how does one of the things that I've tried to figure out is in going way back, it's apparent that some of the people we've read about and people have talked to us about, there was the Excelsior Masonic Lodge and the obviously Prince Hall, which is still active.
Okay.
Yeah.
Prince Hall, actually, Prince Hall It's a black lodge, and see what we belong to is a 4-letter lodge.
AF and AM.
AF and AM.
And what does that mean?
That means you're answered, free, and accepted Mason. All right.
Oh.
Prince Hall is a 3-letter, which is answered, free Mason.
What's the first word?
Ancient,
Anyway.
Like
Ancient
ancient.
Freemason.
Right.
Yeah, that's what Prince Hall is, and the reason for that is because Prince Hall was a native of England, and he never was allowed as a black man to join the lodge in this country.
They're working on that affiliation stuff.
Well, they actually he managed to come to this country and get a charter, so all that's taken care of. But the thing of it is that he had to, in order to be a member of a Mason, when he come to this country, he had to send his dues back to England. They wouldn't allow him to participate unless in England. So once he paid his dues in England, England forced them to allow him to attend meetings. So he finally went back to England and got a charter. And once he got that charter, he paid enough money to get that charter. He came back to the state and set up his own lodge, which is called Prince Hall Lodge.
Okay.
All right, they got to guard that charter. They have to guard that charter 24 hours a day. If this country get their hand on that charter, then it wouldn't be any more Prince Hall.
And do you ever remember hearing anything about the Enterprise Lodge of Masons, which was what I could figure out goes way, way back.
I don't remember that.
What? A book. I'm trying to think, where did I see this book at? It's speaking on the Enterprise.
That was the one that was the John Logan and the other members of the Enterprise Investment Club built that lodge down in North Larrabee.
Okay, maybe that's
1903, 1908. I mean, long before.
Because I've heard that before. I read it in a book. I was reading a book. I can't remember where. I'm always reading. I read so many at one time.
And then the lodge, apparently died out or maybe merged with another one, or...
I think a lot of them probably merged with different lodges. Now, I went in the lodge through her father, my father-in-law. He's the one that taken me in. He was
like a sponsor kind of thing?
Well, no, he actually talked me into it. And had me to fill out a petition, but I had to belong to church before I could go. At that time, you had to be a member of the church.
Oh, really?
Otherwise, you couldn't go. You could not go in. And it was strict.
And
You're
do the
supposed
St.
to be that
Joseph's
now.
Lodge or all of them?
All of them. Any Masonic lodge.
Really?
It's supposed to be. You're supposed to be a member of the church.
And
in good standing.
And when I was doing my research, physical research of the building, I was going driving, especially on Rodney Avenue and Vancouver Avenue. You look at the cornerstone that tells you the date. They all got those Masonic symbols on them.
I have laid 3 cornerstones in Portland. One of them is Morning Star. That was our first one, wasn't it?
Yeah, Roman color.
And that was laid on 100 log. If you go up there and you look at that cornerstone, see, a lot of ministers will tell you that it's not right for a Christian that belongs to a Mason, but every time there's a cornerstone laid at the church is laid by a Masonic lodge.
So you helped lay the cornerstone for Morning Star?
Morning Star, and what was the Reverend Wilder's church?
St. Mark.
St. Mark's, and it was another one.
And that's the one on Rodney.
Yeah. Under leadership of Reverend E.C. Wilder. E.C. Wilder.
So he was there before Bishop Foster.
Oh, that's a different church.
Oh, that's a different. That's across the street.
Yeah. I think it's
I
St. Paul.
didn't have anything to do with that one. It was 2 of them I helped lay. That was those 2.
Morning Star. What's that guy's name again? McCullough?
That was Reverend McCullough.
No, you guys at that time had a real good fellowship with
Fellowship with our son out with him.
Because I was reading the old Consumer Review paper. It was published in 1950.
Yeah.
And it had a little church thing that they talked about coming over. And
So how are the Elks perceived in comparison to the Masons?
Okay, the Elks Actually, Elks it's not a religious lodge. It's more like a social lodge.
Right.
And they believed in drinking and partying.
Isn't
Elks
that
have
where
always been.
That's where
this
that
would
was.
come under this?
That's an
Now,
elk.
this is the elk.
That's an elk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not a Masonic lodge. The only time you get out of the will of God in the Masons is when you get to a high degree, which would be a shrine. You know they have Shriners Ball. You got to be a 33rd degree Mason in order to participate. But they are out of to me, they are out of the will of God because once you take that last degree, which is 33rd degree, they do everything. Them Shriners do everything. They party, they
It's like you paid your dues and now you can go after
yeah,
good time.
they do dropping balls and everything. I don't believe in that.
You know, it's based like Eastern Star winners. They are based on the Bible. They, you know, you have 5 historic women in the Bible. You know, Martha, Ruth, and all them, and that's what that's what it's based on.
And
It's always one of those things.
And the same thing about your Mason.
Yeah.
Same thing about your Mason. King Solomon was the man that built the temple.
Yeah.
See, and this is what it's all about. It started with David in the Bible. It went from David to King Solomon, which is David's son. And the reason is it was David's idea to build a temple. But God wouldn't allow it because of the fact that David was a murderer. But he still was a man of God's own heart. See, so, but God, since he was a man of God's own heart, he allowed David's son to build a temple, which was Solomon.
See, you have a lot of people who don't like to join the ones that we're in because, see, when they come in there, they figure you're supposed to be partying and having, you know, and things like that. Once they find out you're not doing that, then they soon get out of it. Then they'll go to the ones that are
with the
having
social events.
with the social events.
We have social events, but it's not.
At St. Joseph?
But it's more family.
Yeah, but it's more like families, and we have dinners and things like that. You know, we have functions like that, but we don't. There's no drinking and balling and going. It's nothing like that.
How long has that lodge been on North Mississippi there?
That one down on Mississippi. That at one time was an old casket place.
Really?
We bought that building.
Over.
There was casket. They used to build caskets in there.
Oh,
Where was it before then? Do you remember?
That we was actually we met over at the old town hall. You know what Kaiser?
Kaiser Town
That was
Hall.
our building, and we sold that building.
Beautiful building.
Sure is.
We
Isn't that
sold.
beautiful?
They sold that building just before I joined it.
So St. Joseph's Lodge owned that building.
St.
Sold
Joseph
it
used
to
to
Kaiser?
sold it to
Wow.
Kaiser, and Kaiser's hung on. That was a beautiful.
I was in there long
Yeah.
before Kaiser owned it. I went to some musical
Yeah.
event there in the
We,
have a lot of
70s.
we had room for anything you want to name there.
Beautiful.
Are you talking about that
At Pink Building that they
now?
moved.
and they moved?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, 'cause they
That was
first one was
that was the old
something
St.
like
Joseph
that.
Grand Lodge building. And after that, we were just renting here and there. We started at when I was taken in at on Williams Avenue there, right on the corner of Williams and Beach. At the Broaders, old man brought one of the Broaders used to own that building. He probably still lives in the family. We rented that. And in fact,
Is that building still there?
that building is still there. And that's where, when we laid the cornerstone and Morning Star, this is where we taken our training in that building there to lay that cornerstone. The man that taught us came here from Texas to teach us how to lay the cornerstone. His name was Stone. And we laid that cornerstone and called him long distance from Morning Star Church. So after that, we kind of grew, and we moved up to a large hall that St. James meet in right now, which is up by Jefferson High School. It is a large building.
Yeah,
It's actually a
on,
building.
on Killingsworth?
It's near
Nice place.
Killingworth Court.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that one on the corner there.
That's a large building, and we met there for a long time, and we would have functions over that Reverend at the church right there on Commercial with the Reverend
Reverend Hill.
Reverend Hill's church.
Paradise.
We had functions there. We would rent and have functions there, but we actually used to rent that lodge hall on Kenilworth Court.
And whose lodge hall was that?
That was it was. I don't know who owned that building, but we had the option of buying that building. Instead, they went down and bought that old casket building that's on Mississippi, which if been me, I'd have stayed where we were. That's a nice large building.
That one on Killingsworth.
On Killingsworth. That is designed to be a lodge.
Right.
The one we moved in, we had to get that thing together because it had elevators and everything in it for moving the caskets up and down to the second floor and down to the basement. And that was an old casket place.
So you think the lodge has been on North Mississippi since about when? 60s?
Well, let's see.
70s?
It's been, I said
the late 70s.
late,
It wasn't in the 60s.
it was in the 70s.
It was in the 70s. It wasn't in the 60s. Because that building was empty for a long time.
Yeah.
Oh, looks nice.
It's decent enough to have a lodge meeting, but it's not really appropriate.
Well, it's not. It wasn't built as a lodge building.
It wasn't built as a lodge building. They manufactured caskets. You know.
I can't believe that, sold that one.
I couldn't believe it either, but they did.
Why?
I don't know.
How could
I don't know.
didn't value
It's
older buildings
It's a
at
beautiful
that time?
place. It still is beautiful over there.
That building they moved it from where it was, and they was actually renting a lot of that space out. But I don't know. I've heard a lot of speculation about that.
Where was it?
It's right there. You know where the clinic is?
Yeah, but where was it before it was moved?
Right there by the clinic.
Oh, right by the
Or
clinic.
close.
Yeah, right there where they built. You know where the parking lot's going in up there over there? You haven't seen that, have you? They're building a big parking lot, underground, overhead. You know where you used to park across the street from the interstate east?
Yeah.
Okay, well, they're building a underground parking lot there. They done tore all that out. They done dug a hole, and they're gonna have an inside park.
Inconvenient.
Oh, wow.
And well, that hall was sitting right there,
Okay.
right by that building.
Yeah.
And
That's
they
when
moved
I went to see there were some evening concert kinds of things. Some bands would get
Right.
in there for special
Right.
events.
They moved
I
that
read a
building.
story about these, this couple who was like Swedish and Norwegian or something. That's where they met. And because it was supposed to belong to
They
them.
used to have nice banquets, weddings, and a little bit of anything.
It was
over
it
there.
was a nice building.
So you don't ever remember hearing anything about an Excelsior Masonic
No,
Lodge?
I don't never. I can't remember nothing like that. That goes fast.
Yeah, that's way
That's
early,
clear.
and I just can't figure out when they
That-
sort of stopped.
That probably goes clear back.
At least
to
into the
probably before I was
they
born.
went back to the 20s, but I don't know, just don't know when they
That was
stopped.
back there probably before I was born.
Do you know anything about the Knights of Pythias?
No.
That's a whole separate, additional fraternal kind of group, and we're just trying to figure out kind of what groups appealed to different people. Why would you make a decision to go into, why would you become an elk versus a mason versus a knight, or
Well, a lot of those lodges was social lodges, and
everybody belonged.
They called everybody,
Yeah.
but then they was called social lodges. The undertakers used to have social lodges. Your judges had social lodges. The police had social lodges, and they would name it something. And most of your judges were Masons, so they belonged to.
Well, Masons were always sort of at the top of the heap
they-
anyway.
all of
your
them.
president.
And the railroad engineers.
Police officers.
Most of the railroad engineers was Mason, because back in the days of during the time that they had the Underground Railroad. Because I studied this year, I went back there now, but I studied this year. During the Underground Railroad, Masons, engineers that run the train on the railroad would see a black Mason trying to get out of slavery, out of the South, and he could step out in the middle of the railroad track. If a train was coming, the engineer could give a sign, and they would stop that train and pick him up, take him out of So it was a communication, and
Well,
same
yeah.
thing. Yeah, it was a communication between the Masons and the Underground Railroad and the Undertakers that got a lot of blacks out of slavery.
Huh.
And the reason for that was the Undertakers used to get a lot of people out of slavery by putting them in caskets and taking them out of the South. And they had to be associated with a Mason. They had to know Mason.
Yeah.
And at that time, it was all Prince Hall for us blacks. It was all Prince Hall. So in order for them to get out, and this was this was done through communication with whoever was in charge of the drain, or whoever was in charge of your funeral home. He could do it.
Now these people were black or white.
It didn't matter if they was a Mason.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Cross
It didn't
all
matter.
lines.
If it didn't matter, as long as he was a Mason, then the white would help him get out of the South.
And so slaves. So
Oh,
this
yeah.
been going on. I mean,
This happened when Peoples was trying, when they would catch a
yeah,
slave
no,
and
but I
take him
didn't
back.
realize that the fraternal lodges went that far
Went
back.
back,
yeah.
they went back far. They went back to. This was one of the few things that blacks had an opportunity to participate.
And you know, and then too, just like your Mason and whites are the, what do you saying, elks and what have you.
Yeah.
Now, if he can give her a sign, and that elk, he can know the same thing he does. It doesn't make any difference because he's white up, but he still has that same
Yeah.
thing.
Mhm.
Just like me, I'm an Eastern Star. The women, they are daughters of the Nile.
Right.
You know that.
Mhm.
Well, my signs can be same thing. You know, I can give her a sign, and she know what I'm doing too. She gives something, I still know.
Well, who's the Dahlia Temple?
That's yes. Wait a minute. That's the one that Wanda was a member of. They got a book in there too. But they're not Eastern Stars. They are.
It's a social club.
Yeah. Oh wow! I haven't read that book in so long. But there is an organization.
So the women's organization of the Rose City Lodge is now the Daughters of the Nile. Of the Elks.
All right,
the women's Elks.
Rose City.
Yeah, they do. Just like with
Rose City was the Dahlia Temple, this woman's group.
just
in
like
the
over
20s.
with them, they do have different names.
Yeah, they do.
So
Yeah,
it's maybe
they got
more than one.
Yeah, they got different. Women's
Well,
got
see,
different names.
they all got to come out under the umbrella of a brand.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
See, like Rosa Sharon, she's over Rosa Sharon, but they come under the umbrella of St. Joseph Grand Lodge, which is women's cannot belong to a Mason,
Right.
but the men's can belong to the Eastern Star because they're more like overseers.
That's why when you see these, you read information from the 20s about different organizations, you'll be at the women's, like, oh yes, and there will be men there.
Right.
But when you read about the strictly fraternal organizations,
No
it's all
women's
men.
there.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, the Grand, when it comes down to a Grand Lodge meeting, then they have a Grand Chapter too, which would be the Eastern Stars too. They are allowed to be set in with a Grand Lodge meeting, which would be the Eastern Star, the Grand Chapter, and Grand Lodge. So they're allowed to sit in. But if it's just a regular Grand Lodge meeting, it would just be consist of men only. And that's one of the reasons is because of when King Solomon built the temple.
And you was mentioning a minute ago, it's a Rebecca Lodge too.
Right.
Okay, it's coming to me because I got this book
What
in there.
do you think you've read?
I don't even.
It might make some absolute sense.
I haven't read it in so long.
But you can only go
But
so
this-
much. You
Yeah,
can
I
only
can't-
tell so much.
Yeah, I can't, you know, but I haven't read it for a long time. This friend of mine that lives in Seattle, she's in there, and she let me read this book. And I've just read a little sketch of it, because she's a Rebecca. And they have one here, too. That
And what group is her husband affiliated
he's
with?
not in it at all. He's not in it.
So you don't have to hush, but you can still be in it.
You still can, yeah. You don't have to.
You know, that's another
they
thing
like
that
for
some
them
people
to.
have Some people have a understanding that if you belong to a lodge, that and that you shouldn't be in the church. Like, crazy, he don't believe it.
I don't know. I don't have a problem with
But
that.
you stop and read your
I
Bible.
don't think you should belong to a church.
If you believe, if you read your Bible, that everything that every oath we taken, everything that we represent is in that Bible. It's in the Bible. Everything that Masons and Eastern Star represent. They represent Ruth. They represent Esther, Lily of the Valley. Oh, that's in the Bible.
For your 5 historic women.
Yeah.
But you know, I sent off once. I had a problem with it too for a while because a lot of people were saying. So I sent off to this minister, you know, you can write in and ask him questions. And I asked him what did he think about lodges. And I have it, I read it every now and then. And he really didn't, he approved to a certain extent. But it was certain things that you say in your lodge he didn't approve of. And I began to kind of think of it too. It does make sense, you know, that, you know, I
went to the same thing. With the
so I know what you're saying there, because there's some things that you, like I can't say, well, you know,
I know.
that he agreed to it, like I said, to a certain extent. But when it comes to that certain thing there, he didn't agree to it.
You know why?
I approved of it.
My disagreement with it, and I had to go through the same thing with sororities and stuff. And we had our secrets now. God is a jealous God. And there's some rituals in our sorority where, you know, you had your allegiance was to them instead of God. And so I had to kind of, me and my sister kind of prayed about it when we dismount the sorority in our lives, but not the fellowship and the sisterhood. And, you know, it's just you got to be real careful who you're pledging your allegiance to.
Well, that's what this minister was saying.
And that's the thing problem that I have with the lodges. That some of it is demonic. When you get to certain levels of it, I heard it can get real satanic and all that stuff. But
you know, if a person, I always say that if a person is not really comfortable in what the oath he's taking, he shouldn't do it.
Yeah.
Don't ever take something that you're not comfortable with. And you do have to take an oath if you become a full member of Eastern Star.
Well, and you stop and you think about it. When you join church, you take an oath.
You take an oath back.
You got rules by your covenant. Am I right? That's an oath. So I mean, but you know,
actually, when you could take an oath in the lodge, you got your Bible open.
You got it in your hand, and it is in your hand.
It's in your hand.
It's in your hand.
You are taking an oath. You're not taking an oath to man. You're taking an oath to God.
Yeah.
You are that you're giving your whole heart to God right there in front of you.
You know, and then too, when you stop and think of it, anything that you join, you know right from wrong.
Yeah.
Say, for instance, that we are Eastern Stars and Masons. And now we know they're going the wrong way, and that doesn't come with our religion. You know then to back up.
Yeah.
Am I right? Am I wrong? Now that's the same way with the Bible. Now if you go into church and the preacher tells you one thing and you know it's not right, now you're going to call his hand. Am I right? Am I wrong?
Responsibility.
You know what I'm saying? So you can look at it that both ways. You know what I'm saying? Because you know you can have some ministers and things can mislead you too. You know, so that's why it's said. To read, to show yourself approved. As long as you read it, you know what's right and what's wrong. You know. But I had a problem with that too. You know, I didn't know. I thought I had to think about it. Don't get me wrong.
What other things do you think we should try to sort of figure out to get a bigger picture of the fraternal and the sister organizations? Are there lodges that are very important in the community that we haven't mentioned? You know, you think we might not know?
I truly do. I believe they are. They I know quite a few of the lodges, like St. James and all of them. They go and feed the hungry, and they go out and see about the young kids that just wandering around on the streets and things. I do know they do that. They really do.
And St. James is.
I don't know. He's a pure.
I told her I should have stayed there. I ended up dropping money. They got me. You know.
Okay, ask.
I just asked Mrs. Moore if there were fraternal and their sister organizations that you think we need to know about because of their importance, you know, and long term in the community that we haven't brought up. I mean, we know about the Billy Webb's Elks Lodge and, you know, the Rose, you know, that's the Rose City chapter and goes way back and where kind of Prince Hall came from and your lodge, but are there, you know, I mean, and I know there's the Knights of Pythias that probably kind of maybe sort of faded along the way, just, and, you know, Knights of Columbus and the, you know, the Odd Fellows and all of those, you know, kind of the long-standing. But are there ones that we haven't brought up that you think we might not know about, we shouldn't overlook?
What are they doing in the community that hasn't been brought out to the community?
Or are there people, in, you know, like old-timers that have been active with these groups that it's really an important part of history to document in addition to, you know, your groups and the Billy Webb group, that sort of thing?
What about James Purifier and them? They're pretty active. And
yeah, that's you probably could talk to. You know where he actually James. You could probably get his phone number from if you went up there on 12th and between 12th and it's right on the corner 13th.
She's in the new building.
13th in Alberta.
Mm-hmm. What his name?
Oh, that's the Terrell Brandon built
right,
the new
the
building.
New one.
Right.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, James up there cutting hair,
Mm-hmm.
and he's a
At the new salon.
he's the Grand Master over St. James Lodge, which is up there at Kenilworth Court now.
Oh, that's who's in.
He's in that building.
Yeah.
He's the Grand Master of that lodge, and he probably could give you some history because he at one time was with St. Joseph Grand Lodge. In fact, he came through St. Joseph Grand Lodge. He was initiated through that lodge.
St. James, is that a Grand Lodge?
St. James is a different lodge altogether. See?
Yeah, but it's a Grand.
It's a Grand Lodge. They have a Grand Lodge, and they're associated with lodges in Seattle.
And is that an AF and AM or?
Yeah, it's AF and AM. It's full up.
I thought of him because I do know that they do those, you know.
Now your
like
Prince Hall lodge,
things.
lodges, I don't have the addresses of people's in the.
Well, I've made a contact with a man who's affiliated with a Masonic lodge down in Milwaukee who's been working with the Prince. I mean, he has a lot of friends in the Prince Hall Lodge. And he said, well, you know, I said, look, can you identify one or two or three people that go way back so we can, you know, kind of get a basic background of their history in Portland. But, well, I sure can't. The thing that I just don't understand is that the...
Excuse me, Dad, Tucker. Did you drop Reverend Warren off on your way home?
No.
Oh, well, you know, Tucker.